So we are going to be talking today about solving radical equations. Okay, this is the first part of 4.3, but we're just going to call it 4.3 because they're kind of put together. Okay, and this section is called radical equations and inequalities. But we're just going to start with the radical equations part today. Nothing too crazy there. All right. I am going to take these extras, put them behind here, so that way I've got a nice semi-permeable surface to write on. Okay. Now, the first thing we need to talk about is this. If two expressions are equal, their squares are equal. What that basically is saying is this. If given A equals B, then A squared equals B squared. That's it. That's all it's saying. Therefore, if given the square root of x equals 5, then the square root of x squared equals 5 squared. We can use this to solve and simplify any radical-based equation in existence because of the law of equality. What we do to one side, we do to the other side. If you square one term, you got to square the other term. If you square the whole side, you got to square the other side. Same for division, subtraction, addition, all that stuff. You have to keep balance. Perfectly balanced as all things should be. Thanos said, probably. Okay? So, if we take a look at our first example here, we're going to get first the radical by itself. Just like any rule that we've done in the past, we have to isolate the x. In this case, we isolate the radical with the variable. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides first. That's going to give me the square root of x equals, 7. Okay? But we're not done. We would then square both sides. What we get from that is x equals 49. And that's our answer. And if you want to check, if you plug 49 back in, we plug 49 back in, so we get the square root of 49 plus 3 equals 10. Square root of 49 is 7 plus 3 equals 10. It checks out. Okay, so if you want to check it, you can always plug your answers back in to see. And this is going to be very important because we're going to be doing this later on in our notes, specifically for type of problem. Okay? Okay, so for example 2, we have the -3 radical x equals -18. Okay? So again, I'm going to divide both sides by -3. Okay? And I get square root of x equals +6. And I'm going to square, I'm going to show it on a separate line here, both sides. So I get x equals 36. And if I did plug that back in, I get square root of 36 times -3 gives me -18, because square root of 36 is 6. 6 times -3 is -18. Likewise, in the other one, again, I need to isolate terms. So first thing is you should always isolate whole numbers before you go for anything involving this guy. Get him by himself. That includes coefficients. So add 5 to both sides. Left with 2 radical x equals 4. Divide both sides by 2. I get radical x equals 2. We square both sides. And I get x equals 4. All right, so now that's radicals on one side. So now let's talk about radicals on both sides. Okay, radicals on both sides. Really? Okay. Radicals on both sides are solved as you would think. In order to get rid of radicals, we square both sides, like usual. Okay. right? And like before, there's invisible 2's out here, right here, and right here, which are going to cancel out with their counterparts, leaving me with their exponents. Sorry, not counterparts. What am I saying? Leaving me with x plus 4 equals 2x minus 1. Then we just do simple simplification. I recommend getting your x's first. You can get rid of your whole numbers first. One half does the other. It doesn't really matter. So you can do one or the other first. I'm going to do the x's on this one first. I'm going to subtract x from both sides. Keep it positive that way. I get 4 equals x minus 1. Add 1 to both sides. And I get 5 equals x. Yes, x can be on the right side of equal sign. No, it's not wrong. Just it does look goofy, yes. It's uncommon. But there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, most mathematicians will accept that answer just perfectly fine as long as it's simplified. Right? You will learn in pre-calc, you'll just be happy to get x by itself. You won't care what side it's on.
Doesn't it mean the same thing?
Pretty much. It's equal. X equals 5, 5 equals x. Meh. All right. Pretty straightforward. The other one, next one down, even another easy one here. We square both sides. Okay, so we get x plus 4 equals 2x minus 1. So we get 4 equals x minus 1. Whoops. I'm writing the work for the first problem. Dyslexic moment. What? I have dyslexia. How dare you snicker at my misery? All right. Okay. So, picking up where I left off here, sorry. So, yes, the 2's are going to cancel with their invisible cousins over here. Goodbye. So, we're left with 3x plus 8 equals x plus 4. Let's see. I'll do the x's again. Subtract x from both sides. I get 2x plus 8 equals, plus 4. Subtract 8 from both sides. I get 2x equals negative 4. Yeah, negative 4. Divide by 2. I'm going to go this way. I get x equals negative 2. All right, so last section we're going to talk about are called extraneous solutions. Now, extraneous is just a fancy word, okay, for the following. Two possible solutions. That's all it basically means, 2 possible. Okay? Meaning that you're going to do a little bit of extra work on these, and you're not going to be able just to bulldoze through them and say, okay, I'm done. No. 2 possible. I know that W kind of got demented because I wrote the O instead of the O first. Hang on. There. 2 possible solutions. Okay? Now, let's take a look at some. For example, with this one, we have x equals the square root of 42 minus x. We are going to, first of all, square both sides. Right? We get x squared equals 42 minus x. Then we want to get everything onto one side because we should notice something about that square. We can't just subtract x and cancel add x to both sides and take the square root of 42 and all that. Nope. You should notice that this guy's going to turn into a what? A quadratic. Unfortunately, we have come back to the quadratic equation all over again. You thought you were done with it? No, you're not. But luckily, this is a perfect square quadratic. It has 2 numbers. We don't have to worry about plugging it into some crazy function. I need 2 numbers that multiply together to give me negative 42 and add together to give me x. They're going to be x minus 6 and x plus 7 equal to 0. Since they're equal to 0, we set both parts equal to 0. We get two answers. We get x equals positive 6 and x equals negative 7. Which one is it? And that's what we got to check. So now we are going to check both of those answers against our original function, basically plugging them in. So for the first one, x equals 6, we're going to plug that in. We're going to have 6 equals the square root of 42 minus 6. We get 6 equals the square root of 36, which simplifies down to 6 equals 6. It checks out. Now, just because the first one worked doesn't mean the second might not work. You can and you will have to check it to make sure both answers work. Because there are going to be situations where both don't work or one only works. Okay?
Is that a negative 6?
No, it's a positive 6. Oh, right here?
No, like in the beginning.
That's an equal. That's positive.
No, like right under the X.
Here? That says a dash. Yes, it's a dash. Sorry, thank you. There. That's just a dash. My bad. It's a hyphen. Yeah, poor choice of lettering there. I should have just done here. We'll just do this. We'll call this A. There we go. All right. Now let's try the other one, where x equals negative 7. Call this B. We plug in negative 7 equals the square root of 42 plus 7. Okay, looking good. We then get negative 7. 42 plus 7 is 49. Okay, square root of 49 is 7. And they don't equal, so it doesn't work, which means my only answer is x equals 6. And that's it. All right, last problem down here. Same thing as before, only just a little more complicated. So first things first, we're going to square both sides. That leaves me with 2 minus x equals x plus 4 squared. Now, if you have x plus 4 squared, what that actually translates to is 2 minus x equals x plus 4 times x plus 4, right? So I have 2 minus x. If I factor this guy out, I should get x squared. I didn't mean to put a hyphen there, sorry. I mean a parenthesis. I should get x squared plus 8x plus 16. Okay? Now I've got to get everything to one side. We'll move everything from the left to the right. So I'm going to add x to both sides first. I get 2 equals x squared plus 9x plus 16. Subtract 2 from both sides. Well, with 0 equals x squared plus 9x plus 14. Two numbers that multiply together give me 14, add together give me 9. Easiest ones are which ones? 2 and 7. So we're going to have 0 equal to x plus 7 and x plus 2, which means if I set them equal to 0, I should get x equals negative 7 and x equals negative 2. Okay? I'm not going to really jump that space. Now, pro tip, by the way, if you want a shortcut, just looking and knowing which signs are going to be which, all you have to do is figure out what number I have to plug in here to get 0. And that's your answer. What number to plug in here to get 0. And that's your answer. Okay? Because if you want 0 to equal here, one of these has to be equal to 0. So it's 0 times whatever the other crap is, which doesn't really matter because it's going to be 0 times whatever the number is. And, well, it just becomes 0. So it's just a small little shortcut. You can just look at it. Okay? You don't have to do this extra step up here. Okay? But, as always, we got to check them. So let's do x equals negative 7 first. I plug that in. We get the square root of 2 plus 7, sign flip, equals x minus, whoops. Clumsy of me. Negative 7 plus 4. Okay. 2 plus 7 is going to give me the square root of 9. Negative 7 plus 4 is going to give me negative 3. That gives me 3 equal to negative 3. No, it does not, so it fails. It's not that. Let's try the other one. X equals -2. Who knows? Maybe this one doesn't have an answer, therefore it's no solution. But we're going to check anyway. Square root of 2 plus 2, sign flip, because it's negative. And start with that radical symbol. I don't need that much tabletop. I don't know. Call it a tabletop. I don't know. Top of the house. Whatever. Don't need much of that. Or that much of it. X, and then it equals -2 plus 4. Okay? 2 plus 2 is the square root of 4. -2 plus 4 is going to give me 2. Square root of 4 is 2, equals 2. It checks out. So my only answer is x equals -2. And that's how you solve extraneous solutions. All right? You guys have practice problems. Make sure you work on those. And make sure you submit your answers to Schoology.